Why dismissive avoidant gives breadcrumbs. This will hurt you. Have you ever been in a situation where someone gives you just enough attention to keep you hanging, but never enough to make you feel secure? If so, you've likely experienced breadcrumbing, and when it comes from a dismissive avoidant, it can feel like emotional torture. Today we're going to dive deep into why dismissive avoidants give breadcrumbs, why it's so harmful to your emotional health, and what you need to do to protect yourself. Trust me, this is going to open your eyes. Let's start with the basic truth. A dismissive avoidant fears intimacy more than they fear losing you. Their core wiring is built on one principle: safety equals distance. So when you get too close, they pull back, and when you pull back, they drop breadcrumbs. It's a subtle dance of control. Those small texts like, "Hey, how have you been?" after days of silence, or random likes on your social media are not signs of love. They are control tactics, signals to remind you, "I'm still here, don't move on." It's the avoidance way of feeding you just enough emotional calories to keep you starving and waiting for the full meal that never comes. Here's the painful truth. Breadcrumbs are not love. They're emotional crumbs disguised as hope. When they give you a little bit of attention, it sparks dopamine in your brain. That's why one text after 3 days of silence feels so big, so important. It's like a gambler winning a small jackpot after hundreds of losses. You keep playing because you think a bigger win is coming. But with a dismissive avoidant, that win never comes. Why? Because they are terrified of giving more. They're terrified that closeness will trap them, and their entire identity is built on being self-sufficient and untouchable. So why do they do this? If they want space, why not just leave? This is where it gets dark. Breadcrumbing is about power. The dismissive avoidant doesn't want to commit, but they also don't want you to forget them. They want the security of knowing you're still emotionally tied to them, even if they're not willing to give you what you need. It's like they're saying, "I don't want to hold your hand, but I don't want anyone else to hold it either." That's control, not love. And here's why it hurts so much. Breadcrumbs keep you stuck in a cycle of hope and disappointment. Every small gesture reignites hope in your heart. Maybe this time they've changed. Maybe this time they'll open up. But then silence returns and you spiral into confusion and self-doubt. You start questioning your worth. Am I not enough? Did I do something wrong? The truth is, it's not about you, it's about their fear. But because you crave love, your brain interprets every breadcrumb as a sign to keep waiting, and waiting, and waiting, until your self-esteem starts to rot. Now let's dig deeper into their mindset. Dismissive avoidants grew up learning that love equals danger, or at least inconsistency. They were taught, sometimes silently, that vulnerability leads to pain. So they build walls, big, thick walls. But here's the twist. They also crave connection, just like everyone else. They don't want to be completely alone, so they give enough to keep the connection alive, but never enough to feel vulnerable themselves. It's their survival mechanism. The tragedy? It turns you into an emotional hostage. The most toxic part of breadcrumbing is that it makes you romanticize the minimum. You start convincing yourself that these small gestures, those random texts, those occasional meetups are proof they care. But imagine this. If someone offered you crumbs of food and told you it's a feast, would you accept that? Of course not. Yet emotionally, many of us do exactly that. Why? Because love, even in fragments, feels better than emptiness, at least for a while. But here's the harsh reality. Living on breadcrumbs will starve your soul, slowly, quietly, until you forget what a real meal feels like. So how does this hurt you long term? Breadcrumbing damages your self-worth and distorts your sense of what healthy love looks like. Over time, you begin to normalize neglect. You start thinking, maybe this is all I deserve. And that's when you shrink. Your expectations, your boundaries, your voice. You become someone who settles for less because you've been conditioned to believe more isn't possible. That is the silent danger of a dismissive avoidance breadcrumbs. They don't just waste your time, they rewire your sense of value. Now here's the part no one tells you. A dismissive avoidant doesn't even see breadcrumbing as manipulation. In their mind, they're giving you something. They think, I checked in. I sent a text. That should be enough. They genuinely believe that distance equals love because that's what feels safe for them. But for you, that distance feels like rejection, like abandonment, like slow emotional death. Two different realities clashing in the same relationship, and unless one of you changes, the pain will never stop. Here's the bottom line. Breadcrumbs are a warning sign, not a love language. If someone truly values you, they won't keep you guessing. They won't give you crumbs when you deserve the whole loaf. Real love is consistent. Real love shows up even when it's inconvenient. So if you're stuck in a breadcrumb cycle, ask yourself, how much longer am I willing to starve? Because the longer you stay, the harder it becomes to leave. Now, what should you do instead? First, recognize the pattern for what it is, a pattern, not a promise. Second, set boundaries. If someone can only give you crumbs, step back and ask yourself why you're accepting them. Third, shift your focus inward. Heal the part of you that believes crumbs are enough. Because here's the truth. The moment you stop chasing breadcrumbs is the moment you open yourself to the banquet of real love. So the next time a dismissive avoidant drops a casual text or likes your post after weeks of silence, remember this. It's not a sign of love. It's a sign of control. Don't fall for it. Protect your heart, guard your energy, and never settle for crumbs when you were born to feast. Listen, if this video spoke to you, it's because deep down, you already know you deserve more than crumbs. You deserve a love that doesn't leave you guessing, a love that doesn't disappear and reappear on its own terms. Breadcrumbing isn't love, it's control dressed up as care. And the truth is, the longer you accept those crumbs, the further you move away from the feast that real love offers. So here's my challenge to you. Choose yourself. If someone can't give you consistency, commitment, and clarity, then what are you really holding on to? A fantasy, a memory, or just the hope that one day they'll become someone they're not ready to be? Your time is too precious for that. Take back your power. Set boundaries that honor your worth. Because the day you stop chasing breadcrumbs is the day you start building the life and the love you truly deserve. If this video helped you see things more clearly, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more insights, and share this with someone who needs to hear it today. And remember, your heart is not a halfway house for someone afraid to stay. It deserves a home, a real one.